You need, feel the vibe of this reggae. You my love, my life. This intense beat, the soul takes you.
Remember I said I met a lot of interesting people at the shelter.
Yeah.
Another person that I met while I was there was a younger cat that was more so my age, but he was from Yonkers. I had never heard of Yonkers at the time, but he used to talk so much about it at the shelter. Yonkers. I'm like, what the hell is Yonkers? Yo, the Locks, the Locks. I'm like, who the hell is the Locks, man? Yo, they signed a P. Diddy, they signed a Diddy, da 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 da. I'm like, man, who was these cats you keep talking about? So I had to do my research on them, and I did my homework or whatever the case on them, and it just so happened that we ended up moving to Mount Vernon, which was about like 5 minutes from Yonkers. And after we went to Mount Vernon, we ended up moving to Yonkers. Now, upon us moving to Yonkers, I heard about where these guys hung out at. So me, with the same mentality that I had, I took it upon myself to go where they hung out at. I started going over there. I didn't know anybody, but I was just so hungry and ambitious. I'm like, I'm going to meet somebody. So I went over there just to peep the scene the first time. I seen them hanging around. It was actually outside. Matter of fact, all of them wasn't outside. One member was outside, Sheek.
Okay.
A lot of people were in front of the store. I went over there, and they ended up going to like the basketball court. I followed them. They didn't know who I was. They had no idea. I was just like, they were like on one side of the basketball court. I'm literally standing in the corner just watching them. So after we left the basketball court, we went like in front of the store. I'm standing in the corner of the store. They looking at me. They're like, yo, who was this guy over there just standing there looking at us, man? Somebody came over. They're like, yo, who are you? I'm like, man, I'm Jay. They're like, Jay who? Like, what are you doing? Like, who are you? Who do you know over here? I'm like, man, hey, I rap, man. They're like, okay. So I just kept coming around, and funny thing, I found out where Sheek lived at, and I took my demo to his house. Now he's
wow.
Yeah, he stayed with his uncle, so he wasn't there. But when I knocked at his door, his uncle answered the door. And like, bear in mind, this is a demo that it was really bootleg, to be honest with you, man. I created the front cover of it. I went to Kinko's, made my own cover and all that type of stuff. So I went to his house. I knocked on the door. He looked at me like I was crazy. He like, yo, who are you, man? I'm like, look, man, I'm just trying to get my demo to Sheek. Whatever. He's like, bro, how did you know where we live at? I'm like, look, the streets talk. I did my due diligence. I asked around, and I found out. So I gave it to him. And after I gave it to him, I kept going around the neighborhood where they hung out at. I met a lot of people. I met like this guy by the name of Harlem, who was like the neighborhood DJ. He took me in, kind of like showed me around, and I just, like I said, I just kept coming around and jumping into different battles within the neighborhood, and these guys just took a liking to me, and they just embraced me. And it was like, again, I want to suggest nobody to do this right now. Yeah. But
so how old were you at the time?
Man, I was like 12, 13.
Jesus.
Wow.
You're a brave soul,
yeah.
bro.
That's amazing, though. I mean, but I don't know. Thinking back about that time, though, like that's how people, got seen. There was no social media. There was no, you couldn't just email people. You couldn't reach out on socials to whatever. So you had to go door to door. You had, or you had to battle, or you had to, what I mean, like to get out there. So makes sense.
Yeah. Yep.
So how did you end up being part of the group? Did Sheek end up hearing your demo? What happened after that?
What really happened realistically was Styles, after hearing me jump into different ciphers and battling with people from the neighborhood, because that's what I did too. I did a lot of battling with people throughout the city and different cities besides Yonkers. But Styles heard me rapping one time in the neighborhood, and he suggested that I go to Rough Ryders to the studio and battle with a lot of the cats that used to be there, because that's literally what they used to do there. Like, they used to invite people from different cities just to come there and battle. They called it the dungeon. So whoever in the dungeon, they used to have people from, like, at any given moment, you would have cats from like Baltimore, you have cats from New Orleans, Florida, Connecticut, just a lot of different people just in the studio just battling. So I used to go there, And you know, a lot of hungry different artists, and we used to just do our thing. And I used to be one of the only artists that always just used to have material at the end of every battle. So you know, one day Sheek, well, I had got offered a situation from Rough Ryders. Originally, I was supposed to sign with them. So Sheek had caught wind of it, and he, you know, came to me and was like, "Listen, we're about to create a movement or a label. You know, we would love for you to be a part of it. Now, I see that you have this, you know, going on over here with Rough Ryders. They, you know, they like you. They try to do whatever with you. But listen, you could be a part of something new, or you could, you know, stay over here and be a part of this." So I decided to be a part of something new. So I, you know, helped. I was, well, at the time I didn't look at it like that, but I helped establish the DBlock movement, and I co-founded it. But like I said, at the time I was so young, I didn't look at it as me being a co-founder. But I was an intricate part of creating that. So we sat down collectively and came up with the whole idea. And they was like, you know what, you're going to be not the first artist, because Sheek was going to be the first artist, being that he didn't have a solo deal with the record company that Jada and Styles did, because they had solo deals with Interscope. He didn't have one. So the plan was to put him out on a label, the new label that was created. And then after that, you know, because he was a newer artist, they was going to start the label with him and then I was going to piggyback over him as the newer artist. So, you know, that's what we did. We started creating mixtapes, recording freestyles, distributing them to different DJs, and the buzz just got generated, and it just went crazy.
You my love, my life. You need, feel the vibe of this reggae. You my love, my life. This intense beat, the soul.